Welcome to another Grimm Tales Deep Cuts, and I am Gabri, your host. Hopefully you've had a great week so far, and thank you for joining me while we discuss another horror film. And man, I'm going to go on record saying that I was always a big fan of Universal's Dark Universe approach, and I was saddened when they decided that it wasn't something they wanted to pursue anymore. And maybe we'll get lucky and they'll try to do it again. It's their Marvel-esque approach with it's kind of like what Sony's trying to do with the villains, and Marvel and DC do their whole connected universe. Well, Universal was trying to do the same thing with horror characters, and I was all about that shit, like all about it. I thought it was amazing. And then they dropped the ball. Well, this so happens to be tied in. It is part of, they have Easter eggs, and it is part of the universe. So knowing that going into it, I was kind of excited. I wasn't super excited. I don't know what I was expecting, but I had higher hopes, and I think that's the reason why I feel the way that I feel about this film. So I will get into that in a little bit. Tonight we are talking about the film Abigail. It's a vampire flick. And you know me and vampires, I actually enjoy vampires when they are done right. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they are absolutely not done right. And in this case, it's somewhere in between. Somewhere in between. But yes, tonight we are talking Abigail. Before we get all that, let's get the shit out of the way. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell, stay up to date with everything that we do here on the channel. Make sure to go to the website, HUELESSvision.com. It's all there. Everything you need to know is on there. Every episode of every bit of content that you find me in is there. And I try to be as diverse as possible when it comes to content. I got everything from horror all the way up to just funny shit. Okay, I'm a very eclectic person, and I like to have that bleed out into HUELESS Vision. So come join me in my adventures through different things that I do over on HUELESS Vision. And make sure to give it a good go. Make sure to find our Discord server and come talk to me. If you yourself would like to be on a future episode of Deep Cuts, you can. We can sit here and have a good 10-15 minute discussion about whatever horror movie you want, as long as it's something that we haven't already done. You could be on here. So make sure to get into the Discord, the social media pages, or even the email, and drop us a message letting us know that you would like to have a conversation with us about what specific movie. And if you can hold a good conversation for 15 minutes, let's figure it out. All that and more can be found at the website. Once again, HUELESSvision.com. It's all there, guys. Check it all out. Hopefully by now you've actually gotten the feel of this show. And I'm sure it's going to grow over time as the podcast did. And since this is an episodic thing, you're probably going to see it go through some changes. Hell, you're probably going to see me go through some changes if you haven't already. So again, hopefully you're on board for the rest of the show and you're ready to talk. Again, spoiler heavy. This is a spoiler show. This isn't just a regular review. So if you want to be spoiler free, make sure you go over to our shallow cuts over on the short form. Find out what the review is as far as scores wise goes. Then make your decision whether you want to watch it or not. And then come back and join this episode and join us in the conversation. But without any further ado, let's get into the conversation about Abigail. Damn. Like, there's a handful of actors in this film that I actually like, and I like to see in as many movies as possible. And this movie didn't do them justice. This was a very generic film, and it makes me sad because we need more good vampire flicks. We do. We need more. We need more. There are a handful that are really, really good lately. But there's more bad than good. We're not in the Twilight era anymore, which as of the time of recording this, we don't have any Twilight, but I hear that they're trying to recreate that series. And God, please don't. With that whole series, you destroyed an entire decade of vampires because of True Blood and all that shit. Okay. Just please do not redo that series. Just don't leave it alone. Nobody wants to see sparkly vampires. Nobody wants to see it. At least I don't. Maybe some chicks do, I guess. I don't know. But I don't want to see it. I would prefer not to. And I love vampires. Vampires are one of my top favorites when it comes to horror creatures, I guess you would say. The creature-esque monster form of them, then the seductive form of them that, comes before the monster. All that is great. And don't get me wrong, this movie did what vampires are supposed to be. They were monsters. They were 100% monsters. I will give this film that. There wasn't anything, I guess, corny in the sense of what people can do with vampires. It's none of that girly, sparkly, sad shit that they tried to do in the 2010s or the early 2000s, the noughties. But this wasn't a spectacular film. It wasn't. The gore was just, I'm going to tell you right now, I will dog on so many movies for having kills off screen. This ain't the 1970s. When you do psycho type shit, all that shit off screen, whatever, that was the fucking 70s. When you have like Jaws and all that where you barely see the killer, that was then. They did that shit for a reason. They didn't have the budget for half the shit that they wanted to do, so they cut corners. We don't have that shit anymore. We have technology. Shit, I'd rather see you put fucking CGI in a goddamn film than just put this fucking fake ass shit and be like, hey, we know you paid to see this movie, but use your imagination. I ain't fucking coming to a movie to use my imagination. I'll do that with a book. Write a fucking book if you want me to use my goddamn imagination. I come to a movie because I want to see shit. This movie did not deliver on. There was a lot of off-screen kills, and that pissed me off. I will dog on films for doing that all the time. Like the first kill in this film landed up being off-screen. Right from the get-go. Landed up just ruining it for me because I was like, God damn it, this is what we're going to do. And the acting, yes. The acting was very subpar, sadly. Even Esposito, he did okay. But I mean, he wasn't anything special in it. Durand was in this, and I don't know. He just didn't knock it home for me either. There's a lot of one-liner type things. It was just very, very generic. Very generic. Again, it's a very generic script, and I'm very saddened by that, especially coming from a Universal Dark Pictures film. Like, you would think, I don't know. The reason why the Dark Universe failed was because of a few bad movies, which I don't understand. Some of them, like there was the Mummy one didn't do so well. But there was other ones in there that did great. And then we get in this, like, what is this? What are we getting? Why are we getting this? Why? The Dark Universe has so much potential. I've said it on the podcast and I'll say it here now. The Dark Universe has so much potential. There are so many people like me, like you, who would love to see a interconnected, somehow intertwined, Marvel-esque horror character universe. And Universal Pictures had an amazing idea with the Dark Universe. Put Dracula with fucking Wolfman. Apparently there's a wolf. If it hasn't come out by the time you see this, apparently they're making a Wolfman movie. So they are still making these movies. They're just not making the Dark Universe anymore. Why? Why the fuck make these movies still? Why still make the Dracula movies and all this other shit, but yet you have no intentions of doing the Dark Universe? I don't understand. Or maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they are going to keep making them, and I hope that's the case. Because I was a huge fan of the Dark Universe. I really was. I was rooting for it. I was right there. I was like, hell yeah, let's do this. Let's do some fucking like Marvel Avengers Endgame type level fucking horror shit. Let's do that. I am on board for it. And then all of a sudden they just said like, nah, it's not doing so well. We're just going to drop it. It's like a little kid who was sad with his toys and he just didn't want to play them anymore. He just fucking threw them in the fucking bin and was like, I'll get to it when I get to it. Made me sad on the inside. It really did. And this film is not. No, it's not. And there are other films we've talked about. The Demeter. That was a good film. Me and VC Lauren talked about that. That was the purest example of a good Dark Universe film. And it could be used in so many ways. It could have been intertwined into all the other ones. And it did. It was supposed to. It was supposed to. I think that was actually one of the last films that was part of the Dark Universe before they shut it down. And it was just like, oh my God, it was setting up to be so good. You had Dracula, you had all kinds, you had Dracula Untold and all that. They were supposed to unfold into all of that shit. It was just, there was so much potential. And now we don't get half of that. And it's very saddening. It's very saddening to get what we're getting now. Maybe the Wolfman movies are going to be good. I don't know. I hope it is. I still hold out hope for the Dark Universe. But we're not getting there with things like Abigail. We're not. And as far as I know, like I said, I've done the research, and Abigail is supposed to be intertwined into the Dark Universe. If that is the case, it's not doing it any justice. It's really not. And that makes me sad. It makes me very, very sad. Now, I want to discuss this, okay? Right off the bat, I'm going to go right into the rated R. Fine, fair enough. It's a weak R. It's a weak R. But I will give it credit for being an R. It did have blood in it. Might have been weak. Might have been subpar gore. But it was still there. Fair enough. You want the R rating, I'll give you the R rating. As far as the budget goes, $28 million budget. How in the actual fuck did this film cost $28 million? I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand that at all. It makes no sense to me. How does this movie cost that much? Where did the money, where's the money going? I don't know. Now, I don't know if this is necessarily a success. It made back its budget, but it usually, when you talk success, you like to double, maybe even triple past the budget. This did $42,791,449, right? Well, said that wrong. $42,791,449. Yeah. Okay. So it almost doubled its amount on his budget. So I don't know if this is considered a success or not. I mean, I would be happy making my money back and then making a almost $20 million profit. That would have been nice. But I know these studios are very picky about that type of shit. So it might not have been considered a success in their eyes. The runtime, 1 hour and 53 minutes. It seems like a lot of these horror movies are shooting for the hour and 50-minute range, I guess. I don't know why not. Let's just fucking do it 2 hours, I guess. I don't know. But whatever. I wouldn't say this movie dragged on. The pacing wasn't horrible, but again, it was very subpar. There were parts where it was fun, but again, it was a very generic movie, one-liners and shit. It felt like this movie felt like it was out of time. It should have been it was like maybe a mid-90s, late 80s horror flick, right? In a kind of way. Just not as good, right? Just not as good. Because those movies did a little better. This one didn't do so. Not for me, it didn't. Again, is it a horrible film? No, by no means is it a horrible film. But would I have went to the theaters? If I would have went to the theaters to see this, I would have been pissed. Ironically, when this film first came out, I think we rented it. We actually recorded a Grimm Tales, but we were working on the 3rd season of the Grimm Tales podcast, and then certain things happened. We could not finish filming of the podcast, and we had to shelve it. Hence the reason why we're sitting here with Deep Cuts now. We actually did this episode. Me and VC Lauren sat down and we discussed it, and even VC Lauren did not enjoy this movie. And you know, VC Lauren, love him to death, but he can like some doo-doo movies sometimes, and he did not like this. He did not like this at all. So damn shame, especially coming from a Universal Dark Universe picture. The R rating, like I said, if you want, like I said, it is streaming as of the time of recording. It is streaming on Prime Video right now with your Prime subscription, so you can watch it that way. Otherwise, it is available for renting on Fandango. You can rent it for $5.99 or buy it for $19.99. Pretty standard prices for what they do. I would not buy this film, but hey, do as you want. $5.99 is not entirely too bad for a rent. I would justify the rent if you wanted to see it. But honestly, watch it on, if you have Prime Video, which most people have Amazon Prime, watch it on Prime Video. It's probably better to go that route. I think. But with that being said, let's get into the scoring, because it is that time. We have limited time the way we do this show. So let's get into the scoring. Let's go. First off, what are we going to go for story, you say? What are we giving story? We're giving the story a 2.5. Very bare bones right down the way. It's very generic, very average. Very average story. Nothing to write home for. Is it a horrible story? No. Is it a good story? No. It's just pretty much safe play. Very safe film. Like they played by the books. They were like, yeah, let's give this, let's give that. These are things that worked. That's basically what this film was. It was a very safe film. Like they could have done so much more. And like I said, the acting wasn't entirely bad, but the acting, we're going to give that a 2.52. The acting was very bare bones, especially with Esposito in it and Duran and all that, and even the actress who played Abigail. They all did an okay job, but the movie was just too cheeky, too on the cheek, too like, oh, let's just make some one-liners and shit. That's what this was, and it wasn't entertaining. I got very bored with it. The acting, I don't know. Characters were just meh, whatever. They purposely didn't make the characters likable, I don't think. I don't think that was the case. Pacing, 2.5. Very average pacing. No, it wasn't great. It wasn't bad. I understood it. The characters were explained. Still didn't give a shit about any of the characters. That's I said, it wasn't bad to the extent that they didn't explain anything, but it wasn't explained well enough, or anything was done in a way that I actually gave a shit. By the end of the movie, I didn't care who was alive and who was dead. So yeah, pacing was just complete dog water. Sadly, I really hate to say that. It's not good. It's not good. Let's move on to the next one. Gore score. 2.5. Very basic bitch. Fuck. I know there are people writing reviews saying this was a bloody good mess. What? The granddaddy of gore right now. And I know this isn't a surprise. Anybody who's watched the fucking podcasts and probably watched the deep cuts now, you all know that we put Terrifier up on a high pedestal when it comes to gore. Okay, they are the kings of gore right now. I'm not saying they're the inventors of gore, or they're the ones who made it what it is, but they have currently, in its current form, made gore enjoyable. Okay, when you can go, oh shit, yeah, that's what Terrifier does, and it's like, okay, if you're gonna watch a fucking gore flick, so this is not a bloody good time. It's not. It's not. It's very average. Like the stuff, the visuals and all, it's very average, very, very bare bones. I don't know where the budget went, but it didn't go into that. Not at all. Let's go into production. The production's probably got the higher score of them. It's got a 3.5. The production wasn't horrible, but again, for the budget, it could have been better. It should have been better. Don't understand why it wasn't. Do not understand. Makes absolutely no sense to me, and we need to do better. We need to do better with this shit, especially when the budgets are so fucking high. I've watched indie films. Terrifier has actually, even the newest one still has a lower budget than this film, and it still does better at so many different things. Hell, even the story in Terrifier is better than this. And it's like, son of a bitch. It's so disappointing. Sorry on that. If you enjoyed this movie, more power to you, but no. So with that said, let's get to the overall score. I gave the overall, and it should not be a surprise, I gave it a 5.5. 5.5, that's all I could do. Little tiny bit above average at best. That's the best I could do. With the actors that were in here and the potential of it being a dark pictures, dark universe film, there was a lot of potential to do something with it, and the ball was dropped so many times, and it was an extreme disappointment. So with that, 5.5 is the best I could do. Again, you want to rent it, the $5.99 rental, not horrible. Watch it if you have Amazon Prime. By the time, as of right now, it is on Amazon Prime to watch with your subscription. Go watch it that way if you must, but I would not spend $19.99 on this film. I would be pissed. If you are one of the people who went to see this in theaters, I'm sorry, because I would have been pissed in theaters. But that is my take on Abigail. That's it. That's the show, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed sitting here while I talk smack about a movie, or enjoyed it. You know, it's not always bad, but man, sometimes we get stinkers. And I'm sure with the amount of movies, the way that we're doing things now, we're going old and new, low budget, big budget, bottom of the barrel, top of the shelf. We're doing all that shit on this show. So I'm sure we're going to have plenty of stinkers, and I'm sure we're going to have plenty of golds in here too. Just sort them through. I don't talk shit about every movie, but man, when they're bad, they're bad. And this is by any means not the worst film I've ever seen. No, not that close. But coming from a dark universe film, I expected more. I expected more. So with that said, I'm going to get the hell out of here, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed sitting here with me. If you have different opinions, make sure to voice it down in the comments below. If you liked it, let me know. If you agree with me, let me know. But if you disagreed with me, let me know that too. Let's have a talk about it. If you have a different approach and you want to word your out, get it in there. If you want to be on a future episode of Deep Cuts, make sure to get over to the website, HUELESSvision.com. Get in the get in the social pages, get in the Discord, get in the emails. Let us know that you want to be on an episode of this. And if it's a movie that we haven't done yet and you want to have, and you can add a good 10-15 minute conversation with me, we'll record it and we'll put it in an episode of Deep Cuts. So get in there. Let us know. But with that said, I'm going to get the hell out of here, guys. I hope you enjoyed sitting here with me. I always enjoy doing this, and I will keep doing this for a long time coming. All right. Always enjoy doing this. That's why we keep bringing Grimm Tales back. Okay. We enjoy doing it forever and ever, as long as we can. So hopefully you like watching it. And as long as you like watching it, I will enjoy doing it. But with that said, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Like I said, get over to the website, HUELESSvision.com. And until then, I will see you on the next one. Peace out, peeps.